Bitcoin as a virtual currency. The development of the Internet has allowed individuals to communicate across international borders easily and conveniently. This ability has also made it possible for people to buy and sell products and services internationally. However, paying for these products and services can be expensive and complicated because of the need to exchange different currencies. Banks will exchange currencies and make international wire transfers, but the process is inconvenient and costs extra fees. It might seem easier if people could agree on a universal international currency, but the countries of the world are not likely to agree on such a currency. The Internet has therefore stepped up in with a new idea: virtual currencies. These currencies cannot be exchanged globally among people and companies who are willing to accept the currency, because this could enable people to buy and sell much more easily around the world. Virtual currencies open up many economic possibilities, and so the topic is an important issue that could affect people's lives in the future. One example of a virtual currency that many people are trying to use as a replacement for regular currency is Bitcoin. Although it has attracted a lot of media attention, Bitcoin is too risky and difficult to document for it to become a useful replacement for conventional money in important transactions. But the lessons learned from people's experiences with Bitcoin could help in the development of other, more practical virtual currencies that might be adopted by most people someday in the future. Bitcoin is a virtual currency created by software instead of the government. It was invented in 2008 by Satoshi Nakamoto, a pseudonym for a programmer. Bitcoin allows people to exchange money directly over computers without banks or governments being involved, and it uses cryptography to lock and unlock exchanges securely. The cryptography also makes sure that the Bitcoin can only be traded once at a time. As Jerry Brillo and Andrea Castillo, researchers at George Mason University, explain, Bitcoin's invention is revolutionary because for the first time, the double spending problem can be solved without the need for a third party. This prevention of double spending is what makes Bitcoin feasible as a currency. Bitcoins are created through a computer program that sets a maximum number of Bitcoins that will be allowed, which will keep too many from being created and protect their value. This system also prevents manipulation of the value of the currency. Because these features make it feasible to use Bitcoin as a virtual currency, Bitcoin has become quite popular, at least among people who are sophisticated about the Internet. According to economics professor Lawrence Wright, at $4.05 billion, the market cap of Bitcoin as of March 2015 was larger than those of the Costa Rican colon, $3.3 billion, and the Serbia dinar, 3.3 billion. This means that enough Bitcoins are in circulation to make payments possible among a large group of people. Bitcoin is therefore a potential solution to the problem of international payments because of these advantages. Possible benefits of Bitcoin include low-cost transactions and the case of global transfers. For example, using Bitcoin could cost much less than the cost of an international wire transfer or a remittance. As Brito and Castillo explain, in the first quarter of 2013, the global average fee for sending remittances was 9.05%. In contrast, transaction fees on the Bitcoin network tend to be less than 0.0005 BTC, or 1% of the transaction. As this shows, the cost difference is very significant. Also, the global transferability of Bitcoin also makes it a potential replacement even for regional currencies like the euro. This flexibility has encouraged several major companies to start accepting Bitcoins as payment, including Microsoft, Dell, and Overstock. Small local businesses can also accept Bitcoins, potentially reducing the fees that they have to pay to credit card processing companies. For example, in Berlin, at least 30 businesses accept Bitcoins. These advantages mean that people could use Bitcoins to pay for many different types of transactions, both internationally and locally. However, although Bitcoin provides a number of benefits, it also comes with serious risks. One major risk is that the value of Bitcoins has been very volatile. Therefore, as legal scholar Jonathan Turpin states, the volatility of Bitcoin arises from a number of factors, but the most significant are the lack of widespread adoption by consumers. As this shows, people may not want to own Bitcoins because they could lose their value quickly. In addition, there is a high risk of loss. For example, because Bitcoin owners have to store their Bitcoins themselves instead of in banks, it is easy to lose them or have them stolen by hackers. Finally, there are no government regulations to make it safe for people to use. In fact, government regulators cannot even agree on whether it is a currency or an investment, making it difficult for appropriate regulations to be adopted. As Nicholas Winker writes, the technology and decentralization introduced by Bitcoin has created pandemonium for the financial world and those charged with regulating it. This lack of legal protection and regulation could frighten away many potential users. These problems could cause people to lack in trust and confidence in Bitcoin. Field research confirms that very low consumers are using Bitcoins and that banks do not feel threatened by the currency. Edris Kecker, a relationship banker at Chase Bank in Richmond, California, handles foreign exchange transactions. He explained in an interview that an international wire transfer goes through many verification steps to provide security for the customers on both sides of the transaction. This verification and safety is why banks charge fees for these kinds of transfers, and these fees are minimal, considering how much protection a bank provides. Kekar is also very familiar with the Bitcoin and used to own them. He enjoyed the novelty of Bitcoin, but he does not believe they will ever compete with traditional currency, exchanges, and payments through banks. For example, he cites a house purchase as one kind of transaction that requires a lot of paperwork and confirmation of transfers in and out of escrow accounts. As he stated that Bitcoin could never be used for these types of transactions, Kekar stated, banks are here to stay and handle important transactions that actually matter to people. As his remark shows, Bitcoin has limited utility to matters where documentation of payments is essential. An observation of and visit to Chase Bank confirms what Kekar indicated. The bank was quiet and offered a professional atmosphere, with many employees at the teller windows, but also at desks available to answer customer questions. They dress in formal business clothing to convey knowledge and expertise. This comfortable and reassuring environment seemed to make customers confident that their money was in safe hands. In addition, many people came into the bank to withdraw or deposit cash, which shows that very few people may be psychologically ready for something as radical as virtual currency. They seem to see the bank as a safe and secure place, and they like the contact with a human being as a bank teller. Switching to Bitcoin will cause anxiety for a lot of these people. Local merchants are also confirmed that few consumers are using Bitcoins to make payments, even when it is available as an option. Chris Bates, an employee at a restaurant in Berkeley that accepts Bitcoin, explained that the restaurant has an app that processes the payment, and the customer also has an app making payment by Bitcoin very simple. However, Bates said that very few customers ever pay this way, and that the fact that they accept Bitcoin does not seem to be bringing in a lot of new business. According to Bates, most customers want to pay with cash or credit cards, and he stated, not many people have heard about Bitcoin, and they are afraid to try using it. As his remark shows, it will take a lot more education for Bitcoin to become commonly used in day-to-day transactions in the real world. For now, Bitcoin has too many risks for the average consumers, and so most people will probably not start using it anytime soon. However, the problem that Bitcoin solves is an important one. If banks or trusted third-party companies can provide the benefits, direct payments without the need for expensive foreign exchange fees, and access to people anywhere in the world with an internet connection, and solve the problems, lack of security and documentation and monopolies, then that currency will probably become the way that most of us pay in the future. This will revolutionize our lives. Therefore, although Bitcoin will probably not become our first real universal currency, it is important because it is helping to pave the way for a better solution.